2020 has passed, and yet one of the gifts that 2020 gave us was, whether we liked it or not, we were catapulted into the world of virtual work. And one of the questions that I was most commonly asked as a leadership coach was, how do you build trust on your virtual team? Today, I want to explore 3 ways that you can use to build trust on your virtual team. And why is that important? Because let me tell you, trust is the foundation of all teamwork. If we can get good trust in place, you will be amazed at what your team can accomplish. Before we explore the 3 ways that we can increase trust within our virtual teams, let me just say something about trust itself. You see, trust is foundational. Trust is in many ways that foundation. I remember when we were building a new home, and it was from scratch, and they came and they started digging the foundation. And I remember after a month or 2 getting really frustrated because I wasn't seeing any walls coming up. I wasn't seeing what I thought was progress because so much time was being spent on the foundation of the house. Trust can be like that. Because just like in a home, if we don't spend enough time in the foundation, then God forbid a strong storm come, because that house is not going to be as solid as it could. In the same way, if a team does not spend enough time on trust, then their commitment to one another will not be as strong as it could be if they spent more time. So what are those 3 ways that they can build trust? The first really concerns the onboarding process. You see, I think that a lot of virtual teams do not spend enough time really having clarity about a number of things. They don't have enough clarity around the values that drive that team. They don't have enough clarity around the outcomes that they are seeking to achieve. They haven't spent enough time really clarifying the communication process and how each person communicates with each other. All of this onboarding process really sets strong foundations for trust, because when we have clarity in these areas, then we have clarity in being able to trust another person and to trust the process of how the team is going to operate. A second way is to provide opportunities for non-work chat. Now, what do I mean here? Think about the life of work when you were not working remotely. Think about the various opportunities you had each and every day to bump into people and to have a casual conversation that wasn't necessarily about work. Think about all the conversations that we had around the proverbial water cooler. Think of opportunities that you had perhaps to go for a drink after work. All of these were actually critically important moments when we were talking to each other, getting to know each other, and critically helping to build trust among each other. And so now that we've moved to the virtual world, it's important as well that in some way we attempt to provide opportunities beyond work or after work where we can continue conversations. I've seen this done in many different ways. There's actually an IT company that I work with, and what they've done is they've created a games league where people play various virtual games, and there's a league, etc. And it's just a wonderful way for people to socialize. Or you can have a happy hour. I've seen organizations doing a cooking demo where people can come back and have a demo of a certain dish that they'll cook together. Whatever it is, be creative, but provide opportunities so that people have moments where they can make connections with each other that are not exactly work-based, but have everything to do with getting to know each other and ultimately building up the level of trust we have with each other. The third way of building trust on your virtual teams is by creating a place of psychological safety in the virtual platform. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, there was some famous research a few years ago by Google. Google wanted to know, why do some teams perform better than others? What are some of the components that make for top team performance? And they did a lot of research on many different areas. And one thing rose to the top, and it was psychological safety. Now, what do we mean by psychological safety? Well, it's this feeling within a team that I can say things and bring up things and not feel that I'm going to be attacked. That I have the ability to say that I am wrong. I have the ability to say that I need help, that I can't do this. All of this can only happen when we are able to feel safe in that environment. You know, another way of saying this is that it's vulnerability-based trust. Trust based on the fact that I'm not anxious about a person going to stick a knife in my back if I get something wrong. Now, how do we build vulnerability-based trust? Well, we build it first of all through example. And so therefore, if you want to build trust on your team, one of the most important things is to examine, how vulnerable am I? Am I leading by example? Am I willing to say, you know what, I need help? Am I willing to say, I messed up, I screwed up, I got this wrong? All of that sets a tone. And one of the problems that we have with the virtual environment is that we don't take enough time to truly get to know each other, and we don't take enough time to explore perhaps things that might have gone wrong. And so if we can lead in the front with our own vulnerability, we're going to help set a foundation for trust. And as we know, if we set a foundation for trust, it's amazing how a team will produce after that. One of the most important elements when you are beginning new construction is the foundation. If you have a strong foundation, you're going to have a strong building, and it's the same as well when it comes to our virtual teams. The foundation here is trust. We need to spend enough time and effort in building trust, because if we can have a strong foundation of trust, then we know that the team built on strong trust will be even more productive and satisfying. If you've enjoyed today's episode, I invite you to subscribe to the YouTube channel, to click the bell to be reminded. Each week I try and come out with some great content around leadership and emotional intelligence. And if you've enjoyed this episode, I invite you to watch the next episode, which looks at how to give feedback to team members.